Hello, Barbara Jean, the Stamping Queen. Today, we're going to be getting back to the basics. So yes, I'm going to show you two different cards that we could make. We're going to be using Basic Beige, Pretty Peacock, and these are two choices from the Perennial Lavender Designer Series paper. But in order to use those papers, we're going to use the Stampin' Trimmer and this wonderful apparatus that helps you score your material where you want it to fold easily. So first things first, an A2 card is 4.25 by 5.5, and this paper is 8.5 by 11. So an A2 card, you can get 2 out of this piece of cardstock, and it will either be, well, we're just going to do it both. So I usually score my cardstock before I cut it into cards. So this one, I'm going to score it at 4.25 right here. This is 4 1/8, 4 1/4, 3/8. You get that. So we're going to start at 4 1/4. I'm going to use the big end of the stylus. I'm just going to run it down that groove at 4 1/4, and then I'm probably not even going to look. I'm going to give it a little bit of pressure, and I'm just going to draw my arm towards me. Now, if we want to have a card that goes the other way, this will give us 2 card bases. But if we want it to go the other way, then I'm going to score this piece of cardstock the other direction. So I'm going to score it at 5.5. So I'm just going to come to the 5.5 inch mark. Again, the large end of the stylus, I'm going to just put in the slot at 5.5, and I'm probably not even going to look and just draw the stylus along these grooves, help it to stay in. Does it work 100% of the time? Of course not. I get distracted, but most of the time, yes. And here's the Stampin' Trimmer. I have a couple of different tricks for you with this. The first one is, so I've already scored this. Now I'm just going to put it in the Stampin' Trimmer, and I'm going to cut this because I scored this in the middle. I'm going to cut it at 4 1/4. So I'm going to find my 4, and it gets bigger as it goes to the left, the way that I have it set. So I'm going to put this at 4 1/4, and I'm going to be really, really careful because the more particular, sorry, I can't talk tonight, the more particular that you are about how it's cut and where it's cut, your cards will be much more consistent, and it will be easy to put them together. So I'm going to find the 4 1/4 mark, and I'm going to be really, really particular. I'm going to slide the cardstock up to this rail so it has a stable place to stop, and then I'm going to slide this over so it just barely cuts to the center of that mark. And then I always, this is a new blade, don't run your thumb over it. How do I know? I don't know. So it snaps into place, and I hold the cardstock, put a finger on this cover, and then just slide it forward. A quick, smooth motion. And then it unclicks there, and now I have 2 card bases. This is the score line, and you always fold the score to the bump. This is the groove, this is the bump. You always fold towards the bump. I always do that. I don't know if it makes any real difference or not, but I always feel like when I score it to the bump that the place where it's been indented has stretched those fibers just a little bit more. And the whole reason that I came to Stampin' Up! To begin with is because Stampin' Up! Has such nice, consistent paper, nice, consistent cardstock. The colors all went together. If it said it was the same color, so like Pretty Peacock, this is listed on the back of the package for this paper, that Pretty Peacock will go with this piece of paper. So I always know that it's going to be the right color, it's going to look right. I don't have to run around to a bunch of different stores to find what I'm looking for and to have it all match. The other reason that I came to Stampin' Up! Is because Stampin' Up! Has consistently square cardstock. And these tools cut squarely. I have used some in the past that either the cutter doesn't cut squarely or the paper isn't cut quite square. And so when I would take time and diligently cut the paper and measure it out just right, then it still didn't turn out because there was something off about the cardstock, which is the reason that I use Stampin' Up! Because I know it's predictable what my results are going to be. So this piece is scored at the 4 1/4 mark because that's halfway between 8 1/2. Now I'm going to turn it and cut it with the long side to the rail, and I'm going to cut it at 5 1/2. So that will give me just a half a sheet. And I'm going to put it up to the rail and just slide it down very carefully because I want to get just barely so that I'm covering just this side of the line. And with my cardstock up at this rail, and then I always cut up to where the cardstock is staying. So I'm always cutting up this way. I got in the habit of doing that because sometimes when you cut paper, if I'm going to be doing this, so I'm just going to cut this in half because it'll be fine to cut it in half. But if I'm here and my blade is up here and then I come this way, well, maybe my cardstock is going to shift and I don't want it to shift. So if I cut towards the rail where I have it, then I know it's always going to stay right at the rail and not shift. So the other thing is this blade comes out very easily. There's a little indent, a little wider space here. So you just come to there and it just turns. And of course, it's going to be difficult tonight. So it just turns and it comes out. And that blade is sharp. Don't put your thumb on it. I know I said it before, but I really mean it. And so I always cut this way. And so when this side of my blade is getting dull, then I turn it around so that I can use the other side of the blade. And that's just how I've gotten in the habit of doing it. It probably doesn't matter all that much, except to me. So I'm going to take this is going to be my card front because I just think it's gorgeous. And I cut this size. It was just, I don't know why. It was just this size. So I'm going to lay this up here so that the groove and the side of the paper are right together. I just want to know how wide this is. And it's 3 1/4. So I'm going to cut this layer. I'm going to cut it 1/8 of an inch larger, which is going to be 2 of these little lines. So it's going to be 1, 2. So I'm just going to cut that 1/8 of an inch larger because I like a very, very narrow reveal on my card fronts. And let's see if that's the right size. Ooh, yes it is. And now I'm going to measure this. And that is it's 4 5/8. So this is going to be 4 3/4. I'm adding just 1/8 of an inch to the measurement so that it can be very, very close. And I'm going to glue this and make this card while you're watching. But there's something else that I really, really want to talk about. And that is, I am so excited. I am so excited about Stampin' Up! Bringing out more scrapbooking items for us to use. When that happens, I'm so excited. Every little kid that I've ever known loves to sit down and look at pictures. But we keep them on our phone or on our computer, and how do we look through pictures if they're on the phone or the computer? And what happens if if our phone or computer gets lost, damaged, so that our pictures are lost. I've known people that's happened to, and I just think that that's so sad. So I'm going to be having classes as soon as the scrapbooking items are coming out. I don't know when or how that's going to be, but I would imagine it's going to be, I don't know, maybe a mini catalog, or maybe an online exclusive. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but I'm so excited for that to happen so that we can all get together, and I'm going to be doing some things just for scrapbooking, and I'm so excited to do that. I can't wait. So this is the card, basic beige. The layer is Pretty Peacock, and this designer series paper is from the Perennial Lavender. I'll have everything in the description of this video. And the only thing that I don't have right now is I would put one layer in here of basic white cardstock so that there's a nice writing surface. So we did quite a few things tonight. We learned how to use the cutter, how to use the scoring, the scoring machine that we used, and this beautiful card. This really is a beautiful card. I can't wait to finish it. All it needs is a little sentiment, and it will probably go right here, and it also will be in the Pretty Peacock color. So that's it for tonight. Be watching. I'll do everything that I can to keep you up on when the scrapbooking comes in, and we'll be doing classes just to do some nice scrapbooking layouts, maybe some mini albums, some things. It's going to be so fun. So I can't wait for you to come back. I would love to be your demonstrator. So there will be information on how to use my store in the description of this also. And if by chance you would love to become a demonstrator, I would love for that to happen, for you to become part of my team. And that information will also be in the description. So until next time, bye-bye.